What's going on, fellow A-plusters? It's your host, Adam Perez, back once again, set to go ahead and tackle your live viewer questions. That's right, we didn't get to all of your live viewer questions this past Sunday on A-Plus Hero Report, so we're here to go ahead and give you a little bit of a midweek live viewer questions, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and continue to dive into where we wind up leaving off last week. I believe my twin here, good old Adam Perea, I think we probably left on that note. He says, while Beast Morphers had its problems, we can't deny that one of the best episodes in the second half of the season was when Dr. K from RPM came back. I love that she gave Nate a pep talk after learning that Evox was, in fact, Venjix, and how she went through the same thing when she accidentally created Venjix back in her season. Nate's flashback to when he was a kid and how he accidentally released Evox made perfect sense, in which he tampered with Morph X and Snake DNA into the red cell shift morpher, altering Venjix's appearance. Every time I rewatch the episode, I freak out when Avox started taking out this cell shift morpher, saying that there was no reason to hide, and revealed he was Venjix. I was so happy that the show actually managed to do what many fans wanted out of a Go Buster adaptation. Also, very sly on them in the credits to hide that Andrew Lang was actually the voice of Evox the entire time under the synonym Randall Ewing, to make sure the fans wouldn't notice. Interesting. I'm glad you caught that. I certainly didn't. Major props to the whole team for this episode, honestly. The second season of Beast Morphers at the time really elevated the series, in my opinion, by making frequent but mostly organic references to past seasons and past Rangers. This was the kind of continuity the show had been lacking for a long time, the entire Neo Saban era, and it just makes me so happy to see it. Yeah, I was really thrilled that they decided to go ahead and do that. Anytime you have connective tissues to past seasons, it just really helps build the lore, some fan service, if you will. But like you mentioned, it just felt extremely organic in the way that they certainly pulled it off. And if you ask me, I always thought the second part of the second season of Beast Morphers was rather incredible. I thought they were just very streamlined in regards to focusing on the story, progressing it with each particular episode after that. It almost felt like it was one gigantic sort of continuation to each other, if you will. And I just thought they did a really great job of leading in from one episode to the other and really carrying that momentum. But yeah, man, you make some really great points there, Adam. So appreciate the comment. I think we already talked about Jericho Gonzalez's for the Need for Speed movie. Good old Power Rangers Legacy says, just a what if, but what if Jason lost his powers instead of Tommy during the Green Candle storyline? Ooh, here's what I imagine could happen. Jason successfully prevents the Green Candle from destroying Tommy's powers, but in the process, Goldar and Jason have an intense fight that results in Goldar swinging his sword at Jason's morpher, shattering his Triceratops power coin. As a result, Jason can no longer battle as Red. Zordon and Alpha would most likely then begin working on the White Ranger powers. Meanwhile, Tommy, remaining as the mighty Morphin Green, would lead the team as a favor to Jason, since Jason in the story lost his powers and can't battle. Sometime soon, Jason would return as the White Ranger. One aspect I feel would be a tough situation on is during the peace conference. This might still happen, considering Austin Walter until he walked off set. If Rocky was given Jason's powers as a White, would Rocky lead the team or Tommy lead the team? I feel Tommy's more likely, since even though Rocky would have been given the White Ranger powers, Tommy would have made more sense, since he's a more experienced Ranger. Though many seasons later, we've had 6 Rangers who had little to no experience. I'm right with you there. I think it probably still would have been Tommy, also mostly because of his experience and just his experience as a fighter as well. But yeah, mostly his experience as a leader. So probably would have given that to Tommy. But that would have definitely been a really interesting storyline. One of my memories as a kid watching MMPR that was so impactful on me was seeing Jason and Goldar battle in an attempt to sort of save the Green Candle and save Tommy's abilities. I think for me, it really shook me as a kid to see this hero not succeed. I feel like it wasn't every day that we saw our heroes falter or fail at accomplishing something. And so it really pulled at my own heartstrings and made me feel some type of way that Tommy ended up losing his powers, that Jason felt some type of way that he couldn't like come through for his friend also. And It was kind of devastating, especially for a kid my age watching Power Rangers for the first time. I was kind of blown away because again, I'm so used to the hero sort of saving the day, you know what I mean? But really great storyline. I was always a big fan of it. Alexandra Rosario says with the leaks or confirmed news of the Power Ranger reboot universe saying that Japan might play a part in the new universe, I think it would be cool to pay homage to the original source material without actually using Japanese footage anymore. Maybe the reboot movie or series takes place in Japan and the new Rangers are recruited to go there to find their powers, then head back to America or whatever the main story takes place. I really like the idea of a great power crash landing and being kept away and discover. Oh, I think I actually read this one already, Alexander. Yeah, I think I talked about this one a little bit on Hero Report, and just referencing. I think the homage is yet that they will be hopefully maybe filming in Japan, but also I'm curious if maybe the main leader of the team is Japanese. I feel like we've been asking or there has been a group of people in the Power Ranger fandom asking for either an Asian Ranger, a female-led Ranger. I say Jonathan Entwistle, give us an Asian female lead Red Ranger. So we'll see. We'll see if there's certainly more to the Japan stuff as we get more information. Chris Crossman, what do you guys think of season 2 of Stargirl? Oops, what did I do? Oops, I exited out. I'm sorry, guys. What do you guys think of the season 2 of Stargirl when John Wesley Shipp reprised his role as Jay Garrick, being one of the original members of the JSA? I heard this version of him didn't have or at least use his powers. Would you like to see Jay again for the final season of The Flash? I'm still confused on how everything works since the crossover that rebooted the Arrowverse. Well, I will say this, Chris. I did not get the chance to check out season 2 of Stargirl, so I did miss the Flash crossover for Jake Garrick. You did say you heard this version of him didn't have or at least use his powers. Would you like to see Jay again in the final season of The Flash? I absolutely would. I do think that it would kind of be a disservice if Jay wasn't in the final season of The Flash. He's been such a prominent figure in the Flash series and just a franchise back since the 90s. If this is the last time that we're going to have a Flash show on television in quite some time, I say, yeah, have him pop up at least one more time. And you say you're still confused at how everything works since the crossover that rebooted the Arrowverse. Well, let's listen, Chris. You're not alone. It confuses me also, right? Like the point of Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comic books was really to eliminate sort of the multiverse and the different variants and versions of the characters and really condense things down into just Earth Prime and just one particular Earth. But it seems as though when it comes to Crisis on Infinite Earths, they just did not correct anything whatsoever. It feels as almost like the situation we were in before Crisis is the same one that we're in now. Still multiple Earths out there. Whether or not the team on Earth Prime know that there's a bigger multiverse still out there, I don't know, but Stargirl takes place on another Earth. Superman and Lois takes place on another Earth. Also, I believe Naomi at that point in time did also. So it really didn't accomplish, I think, what it certainly was set out to do, but it was a pretty cool crossover event also. So you're not the only one, Chris. You're not the only one. Good old Jack Daniels, because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. What do you love about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air series, and what was your reaction when you first saw the episode where Will Smith gets so angry um so angry front of Uncle Phil after witnessing his deadbeat father left him again? And do you feel this scene is what made Will Smith even more of a star than he already is? Oh, okay. I've actually seen that episode quite a few times. The idea of Uncle Phil and the rest of his family trying to just let him know, like, hey, your father's left you once, maybe protect yourself, protect your feelings just in case if he kind of leaves you again. And we get to see that Will is just like, my pops is back. I'm just trying to hang out with them, having to spend a good time. His father winds up making him some promises that he unfortunately can't keep. And, Will gets this idea in his mind that he wants to go ahead and live with his father, or at least go with his father. And when it is, in fact, time to go, his father being the deadbeat dad that he is, coming up with excuses, other reasons why now he can't take Will with him, or not even to the point of wanting to tell Will face to face, but wanting to have Uncle Phil tell Will that he can't go and he just wants to bounce. But I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Uncle Phil that tells him, like, no, if you're gonna leave Will like that and leave him disappointed and heartbroken again, you tell him yourself. And honestly, it was really cringeworthy to kind of watch his father explain to him and just break his heart once again, like, I left you before, I gotta leave you again, sort of thing. And Will tries to take it like a man, like it doesn't affect him whatsoever. It doesn't bother him. But when he actually has that conversation with Uncle Phil, you really see that that it really breaks him, that it really gets to him, that he doesn't feel loved and appreciated, like, why doesn't my father love me type of mentality. And that's the one thing that I did always loved about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, regardless of how much humor it certainly was. Man, I've never seen a show that just was so impactful, that really dealt with issues in society as well as it certainly did. The idea of really how to raise good men, how to raise boys into men, sort of thing. Great mentalities to certainly have. I think Uncle Phil for many was like a father figure for us, certainly watching Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And so it's one of those shows too. Like, and it's on Peacock, if I'm not mistaken. Every once in a while, me and the girlfriend will go back and just binge it and just kind of. It's like a show that you could put on in the background while you're cleaning or cooking and still clearly being paying attention, sort of thing. So we've seen our fair share of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episodes, and to me, it's still amazing how well it holds up. It doesn't matter what time period it is. There's so many lessons, life lessons, important lessons to learn just as a person and as an adult, to take away from that series, and great comedy and just an amazing cast. It's definitely a series that will certainly stand the test of time. But I will agree with you that I do think that is a scene that made Will Smith an even bigger star than he already is. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Will Smith talks about a conversation that he had with the actor that played Uncle Phil, and really how Uncle Phil pushed him to really dig deep into his own feelings. And, I think when you see Will Smith cry like that, I do think there's a part of him putting maybe his own real life situation into it, but also becoming the character fully, to feel and empathize and go through those emotions that that character would be. I think when you're able and capable of doing that and just being in that moment, yeah, I think that definitely elevates you. And I think that's probably one of the moments that certainly elevated him in his career. And I'm sure he probably would thank that too, the actor that played Uncle Phil. I think he truly would. So great series, though. Great series. I mean, there's so many good ones. Like the episode when I think it's Carlton that actually accidentally takes one of the drugs, or one of the what is it, a caffeine pill or something like that, that Will was trying to take for himself, I think, to kind of keep him up, so he can focus and take tests and stuff. I can't remember what it was that Carlton wound up taking, but Carlton tried to, like, cover for him. Carlton wind up getting in trouble for taking drugs, if you will. And then it really was up to Will to kind of step up as the man and kind of take the blame and tell the truth as to what it is. And so, him and Uncle Phil just had some amazing, amazing moments on screen, very life altering and very life changing in regards to just taking valuable lessons away from those moments. And so, shout out to the Fresh Prince of Bel Air series for being so incredibly good like that. Stuart Hussery, what's up, Stuart? What were some of your guys' favorite seasons of Kamen Rider? I've only seen the American adaptation, Dragon Knight. I personally enjoy the show more than I did um, with his Japanese source material, Ryuki. It felt to me like a true Kamen Rider show, that some knockoff with no soul, which was the Masked Rider spinoff during the early days of MMPR. While it wasn't the best, but I would say it was a great first for anyone who had not been introduced to Kamen Rider before. Yeah, the first season of Masked Rider, I will agree. I think it was a really great introduction. I missed out on the Dragon Knight phase. Stuart talks about it all the time. There was a time period when we had our Patreon up, that Stuart was going to do combination reviews of Ryuki and Dragon Knight to see the American adaptation and the actual Kamen Rider series itself. And so I thought it would have been pretty cool to certainly do that. So I'm sure the other steward would definitely gush about Dragon Knight and Ryuki for you. For me, I actually have not been the biggest Kamen Rider fan in the sense that I there's not really many. I haven't watched the complete season of Kamen Rider at all. Zero one was pretty cool for the episodes that I certainly did see. And unfortunately, Kamen Rider Saber. While I didn't watch that, I think Stuart actually did the reviews for our past channel, A Plus More Phenomenal. So he's actually probably the better person to ask in regards to that. But I was really impressed with Kamen Rider Zero One for what I wind up remembering. I think I only caught like the first 10 episodes of the season. So not sure how the remainder of the season went, but it's definitely one that's on my radar. Good old Francois says, those rumors that actors of Shelby and Riley from Dino Charge want nothing to do with Power Rangers. Deleted tweets indicate otherwise. I wonder if those were true. Perhaps they felt filming Power Rangers wasn't as it seems. I know movies and TV shows in general, actors are often living in their trailers for many hours until they're called to film scenes, especially with them having to wait until it's a certain time, like if they need to film at night or during different weather conditions. Anyways, I think Shelby and Riley's actor do still embrace their time on the show since they record their voices for Beast Morphers, and one of them did attend Power Morphicon alongside the other Dino Charge cast. Yeah, Shelby was at the actress that plays Shelby was at Power Morphicon this year. I remember some of the people that I followed on Twitter had mentioned that she was certainly there, talking about teasing about the idea that she looked like she wasn't having the best time in the world, sort of thing. But I think the fact that she shows up definitely says something. She definitely didn't have to. And I don't know if it's look, I don't know her relationship with Power Rangers. Why she wouldn't be enthused. I mean, look, it could be some fans. I mean, she is a female ranger. It wouldn't be surprise me if she's gotten harassed or had people really bother her, and so she's decided to, maybe not be a part of the fandom. It could be a case of, she did her time on Power Rangers and she cleans her hands of it and is ready to move on to other things. Maybe Power Rangers wasn't the launching point for her career that maybe she was hoping for. So maybe there's some animosity behind it. Again, this is just all speculation. Like, I really don't even know what the actress that plays Shelby thinks about Power Rangers. Maybe she'll just say all the right things in order to maybe get a payday and get invited back and hang out with the fans. I don't know. Maybe she truly enjoys the fans, but she's just not as open and boisterous about it as some other cast members definitely are, so it's really up in the air again. I personally haven't read or seen anything about the Shelby and Riley actors, but maybe others have and they've got different opinions in regards to it. Roberto Bueno, a Nasada space shuttle in Zordon. You say, so I've got up to Power Rangers in Space in my Power Ranger rewatch on YouTube. And there's something that's been bothering me that I don't think was ever explained in the show, but I wonder if people had tried to explain in other places. How is it that the Nasada space shuttle fits as part of the Astro Megazord? When the Rangers set off from Earth at the end of Turbo, they just take a random shuttle. So, how is it that it can even connect to the mega ship once they meet up? Was it always Zordon's intention for them to meet up with Andros at some point? So, this was all planned, or is it just a coincidence? Maybe Zordon reached out to Nasada before he and Alpha left Earth during the second half of Turbo and could have been able to provide them with technological information in case they were ever needed, and made sure it could be compatible with other morphing grid tech. So that's a good question in regards to how the Nasada space shuttle connected. You know, yeah, that's a good question. I personally don't know. I mean, look, my thing would be, while it is a random ship, I think anytime maybe you go into space, maybe each shuttle isn't as different as we think that it is. Like, when I think of like a ship or like a space station, right? Like, I think of docking ports or access entryways that maybe another ship can easily come up to and link up to. And so I almost think that maybe the Astro Megazord maybe just has that type of function where if other ships want to connect to it, maybe it just has an extra docking bay or two. And if another ship has a docking bay, maybe they can easily connect in that sense. I'm not sure, Roberto. I'm just talking out my ass at this point, hoping that sounds good enough. So I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe somebody else can certainly answer that one. Jackson Peterson, do you guys wish the Flashpoint storyline of the Flash season 2 was longer instead of just one episode? I heard that many people were disappointed there was only one episode instead of a 2 or 5-parter. I do really like that this established Eobard Thawne as Barry's greatest threat, who never disappears. I'm cool with the Flashpoint storyline of season 2. I'm maybe a little bit surprised that they tried to pull it off as early as they did in season 2, but I guess, you probably didn't want to change the status quo that much, but maybe just tease the concept of Flashpoint, and so you don't pull the trigger on like 5 episodes. But I like the way that it was certainly handled and introduced, and so I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm actually glad that they went that route instead of doing an entire sort of Flashpoint storyline for the entire season, because to me it would just feel like it was just a little too soon. Adrian Perez, what's up, Adrian? He says, "Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. How pumped are you for the second half of Dino Fury season 2 is coming in just a few short days? How do you plan on watching the episodes?" So thank you very much, Adrian, for this question. And by the time we drop this live viewer question, it will in fact be Thursday, September 29th, which is in fact Dino Fury Season 2 Part 2 day over on Netflix. It has officially dropped. You can go ahead and actually watch the entire season of Dino Fury if you'd like to now. So it is now available as you guys watch this. How do I plan on watching it? That's a good question, believe it or not. I actually did go ahead and put a poll up. Where did I put this poll up? Oh, now that I think about it, I actually put this poll up on the community tab. So let me go ahead and pull this up here real quick, because I'm pretty sure I did post it on the community tab. Was it the community tab I put it on? Maybe it wasn't. Hold on a second. Let me double check here, guys, real quick. Let me go to videos, come back to the community. Yeah, I did. So does it tell me how many? Okay, so I've gotten 21 votes right now. So one of the things I asked was, how should I review Dino Fury? And so let's see here. What does the post say? So I said, how should I review Dino Fury Season 2 Part 2? Out of 21 votes, we've got 57% that think I should just do a full Part 2 review. 38% thinks I should do a weekly episode review. We got 5% that thinks I should do individual episode reviews as quickly as possible, and no votes for just do an entire series review instead. So I might do that. I'm definitely going to go ahead and give that that poll a little bit more time to certainly go ahead and post. Right now for me, Adrian, my plan is simply to I think I'm probably am going to binge the entire season. I probably, once it's dropped, I probably will go ahead and actually watch the entire season for itself so I can say I finally completed it. And then I'll probably go back and rewatch this season again. And then from that point on, try and figure out how do I want to pull this off. If I want to go ahead and do it as a full review for season 2, part 2, or do weekly episodes. There is a part of me that still leans weekly just so that we can continue along. Excuse me. Just so that we can continue along with the great Power Ranger talk, hopefully leading into Cosmic Fury. So we'll see, guys. We'll see how I certainly decide to do it, but I'll definitely go ahead and keep you posted. But right now, the plan for me is to at least watch it completely, and then go and do my reviews from there. So I'm hoping I have the entire first season, or the season 2, part 2, finished by Sunday. Is what I'm truly hoping for. So we'll see how it turns out, though. All right, guys. I think other than that, that will do it for the remainder of our questions today. So thank you very much, guys, for all your participation this past Sunday. Sorry that we sometimes are not able to get to all the questions, but it feels very first come, first serve, right? Like however soon you can go ahead and submit your question, maybe ups the chances that we actually answer your question on the show itself. But we continue to grow each and every week, guys. So we definitely appreciate your questions. But other than that, guys, that's going to certainly do it for me here. We'll definitely be back later on this week. We got a ton of content for you guys. Not only do we have Dino Fury reviews, we've also got the Hasbro Pulse Con, which, if anything, I might actually go live Friday evening to maybe even go ahead and talk a little bit about the Power Ranger panel that winds up happening. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend to definitely be a Power Ranger fan. So certainly go ahead and stay tuned, guys. And then, of course, we've got an episode of A Plus Hero Report live Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So certainly join us then. But until then, guys, ladies and gentlemen, do me a big favor, as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.